Hello there. Good evening and welcome back. We are IIRL. And as you can see, we are back for another week of streams. Round 9. Boy, where has that time gone, eh? And we are at Belgium this week. So this week, we have 3 streams this week, as we do every other week. Tonight we have no assist tier 1 racing. All these drivers completely turning their assists off. That is the deal. The hardest form of sim racing on this game possible. On Thursday we have assist tier 1 with Spark 666, and it would usually be on Sunday night, but because of the late finish of the Mexican Grand Prix in real life, we will be having the assist tier 2 race on Monday. So make sure, if you're an assist tier 2 driver watching the stream, make sure you remember that. The race is on Monday and not Sunday. And all 3 of these races will be the Belgian Grand Prix. Round 9 of the season. We're almost halfway there. Of course, we'll have a bit of a break for Christmas, but apart from the Mexican Grand Prix being a little bit annoying, changing the 82 race from Sunday to Monday, apart from that, should be back to normal. We'll have a little bit of a break over Christmas, which I'm sure we'll tell you about in 2 or 3 weeks' time. Chives, hello sexy. Missed me? I have missed you, mate. It's nice to see you back racing in the Red Bull, and he's been readied up for about 10 minutes now, so he's ready to get going. And did I hear you say in Discord earlier that you've done 2 laps of practice? Let's hope you find your feet nice and quickly. Mr. Wiggles, hello mate. You're going to spin with passion. Wiggle wiggle, as we say. Hyper, hello Sun God. Are we not friends? Basically, I'm a Tottenham fan, and Hyper said that even with Antonio Conte joining Spurs today, that we still won't win trophies. So I joked and said we aren't friends. Anyway, let's forget about the football. Not everyone's interested in football. Tucker for life, hello mate, have a good one. I love this track. Indeed, you've got it coming up this week, so make sure you get some practice in. And Wiggles, the more you ready up, the more we can't get started. And what I'm going to do is something a little bit different in Q1. I want to get in chat from all of you watching and viewing live. I want to get your favourite moments, or most memorable moment, should we say, of the Belgian Grand Prix. I was looking at some of the history of the real-life Formula 1 Belgian Grand Prix, and it's truly staggering the amount of memorable moments. One moment you may not know about was in 1925, so almost 100 years ago, the first Belgian Grand Prix was held at the very fast 9-mile Spa circuit. And since then it's been reduced to, I don't actually know how, I don't know in kilometres what 9 miles is, but it was reduced in length, but was modified to make it even faster. Basically just all high-speed corners apart from La Source, which you'll see turn 1 very slow. Anyways, it was reduced to 14.1 kilometres, and when you consider that the current track is 7 kilometres long, and it takes almost 2 minutes to get round, imagine racing on the old track that was twice as long. You could almost have a 3.5 minute lap. So that is something I didn't really know before today, but I know now, and my life is a lot better because of it. excuse me, 19 drivers here this evening. Almost a full grid. And I'm seeing in Discord that there's no rain. I'll wait for a driver in chat to confirm. Chives and Hyper, I wonder if you can, and Wiggles actually, any of you, feel free to confirm what the weather's doing here this evening. More memorable moments. Included the very, very infamous moment in 1998, where at a rain-infested Spa-Francorchamps circuit, David Coulthard accidentally caused an accident which took out 12 or 13 drivers. Yeah, it's on YouTube. Just type in massive Spa crash, and I'm sure it will come up with it. Before that, though, they did make some changes to the circuit. They did bring in a chicane at the bottom of Eau Rouge, which will go on a track tour with a driver very, very shortly. But the chicane was taken out a year later for whatever reason. But with the recent deaths to Antoine Hubert and another big crash in another form of motor racing this year, I have a feeling that there may be some changes to the circuit in the next few years' time. So mark my words, there may be some changes coming to this track. Many, many historical and memorable moments happened here. So for instance, Michael Schumacher has won this 6 times. He won his 52nd Grand Prix at Spa in 2001, surpassing Alain Prost's previous all-time record of 51, so he took a record here at Spa. The aforementioned 1998 race, only 8 drivers were classified finishers, 2 of whom were 5 laps behind, 1 of whom was Coulthard himself. And Damon Hill secured a victory ahead of his teammate Ralf Schumacher to record the Jordan team's first Formula 1 win. So, again, lots of memorable moments. Schumacher's won a title here at Spa. And of course, let's not forget what happened this year with only 2 laps of racing happening and half points awarded. Verstappen winning, George Russell and Lewis Hamilton on the podium at 2. Track no stranger to rain. Slap bus going a little bit wide there out of Stavelot. We'll go on with a bit of a track tour very shortly. I actually think Hyper's coming around to start a lap now. So we will go on board with IIRL Hyper. It comes down to a relatively short pitch straight. You do get DRS assistance, but you don't really see many moves into turn 1. Very famous, the Source, which has kept its place on the calendar for probably roughly 100 years. Down this big straight, no DRS because at the bottom of it you've got into Eau Rouge and Radion. 3 corners, very tricky. Turn in too much, you will get some oversteer. DRS down the Kemmel straight. Yes, that kinked right-hander was in fact a turn, believe it or not. Through Les Combes. And Hyper is getting out of the way, so we will pick up with Flat Bus here, picking up where we left off through the very long left and through No Name corner, which really doesn't have a name, so we call it No Name. Through the deceptively tricky, and that is why the deceptively tricky Pouon corner, as Chives has crashed, and that might be on just coming into the pit straight, so he may have crashed into the pit wall here. Anyways, we'll pick up this tractor with Dayman. And the sector 1 is on the Camel straight, so this is now sector 2. Very tricky right-hander. Watch the exit here. Can get some understeer through that corner, so you need to be careful of that. Through the aforementioned pit on turn 12. Double part to it. You run wide there and you do get invalidated unless you do lift off. The game is quite lenient in that way. Avoid the curbs of 13 and 14. Otherwise you will go for another spin and through Stavilo, which used to be a hairpin but now a very flowing fast right-hander into another fast right-hander, turn 16. And this is one of the fun places. A lot of drivers will gear up into the slipstream of a car in front, try and make a move into the bus stop chicane through the very flat out Blanchimont, but in wet conditions that will not be the case. Pick your braking point for the bus stop chicane. And you get DRS assistance straight out of this corner to the line. Dayman does a 45.4. Wiggles currently setting the pace on a 43.8. Nice lap indeed. Hello Appy, how you doing? And hello Lando. Good evening to you all. And thank you for the follow, Chives. Appreciate that, mate. We are trying to gain some speed on this new channel. Up to 77 followers already in just a few weeks of racing, so we must be doing something right at the moment. If you're watching and you're not part of the league, and you want to get some racing on board, whisper us on Twitch. We can put you in touch with the right people. And see if there's a spot for you in IIRL. Some reserve drivers tonight. Hello, take her easy. Good evening to you. New channel, Vamos. Love that. And I'll just have a look at who is reserving here this evening. I definitely know Chives is reserving in the Red Bull. We got Pete in the Alfa Romeo, who is currently at the bottom of the standings. Nice to see Padge. We got Kemet61 in the Alfa Tauri, who's currently P2, and that looks like a decent lap from him. IIRL Padge in the McLaren is reserving tonight, as is Hyper in the second Alfa Romeo. Hyper currently P7, and with only 9 minutes left of the session, there's 9 drivers who need to set a lap time, not including Chives. So yeah, let us know what your favourite historical Spa moment in real life Formula 1 has been. We've mentioned a few things, a few moments, a few pieces of history. Oh dear, Shrives. Looked at your phone, then you crashed. Yes, Jota. No assists whatsoever. No ABS, no traction control, no racing line, no braking assist, no steering assist, no DRS assist, no pit assist. Any other assist you think of, and no is on the game this year. These drivers do not have it. The hardest form of sim racing, which means that when someone pops in there with a fantastic quali lap, you have to really go, wow, that is very impressive stuff. Even I myself don't use all assists. I mean, I only use some assists, but even I haven't got around to turning them all off yet. Not that I'm better than any of these drivers, of course. That's why I'm behind the mic. Oh, Padge, a little bit of a spin, and oh, saves it from the wall. Nice there. So Padge lives to lap Spa-Francorchamps again. Connor goes faster. Couple of tenths in hand over Wiggles. Nice lap there. Blue in P4, AJ Sam P5, and Dr. Edward all in the 44s. 45s, we've got Hyper, Maverick, Dayman, Tidiest, Bear, and Prev. Still waiting on laps from that guy, Padge, this man, Hoike. His teammate, Slapbus, who won last time out in Hungary. AMS Fairley, who is doing very well in the championship, you'd have to say. Apiasapi is in the pit, and Pete is on an out lap. So, still plenty of action to come in Q1. But you did call it, Wiggles, but it's only Q1. You don't need to break the bank so much in this session. You just need to get through. Make sure you're not in the bottom 4. Slapbass goes goes P3. See what his teammate Hoike can do. Apologies, his teammate is Dr. Edward and not Slapbus. All these blue icons sometimes confuse me a little bit. And Hoike goes fastest by 0.4 of a second. What a lap there. Very nice indeed. Prev goes P6 on a 44.1. Padges into the pit after that spin. That is my nickname, Hyper, but I would certainly not be the king of Belgium racing in IIRL. And certainly not on this game. The curves are a little bit too... I abused the curbs on the last game, whereas on this one you have to be very pragmatic in your approach on the curbs. So that guy goes P8. 44.3. Nice time, but roughly just under a second probably to safety. So he may be safe on that, but may go out for another run, you never know. And with only 5 minutes left of the session, you do need to give yourself a good 3, maybe 3.5 minutes coming out the pits, just to make sure you get rounds, get your out lap sorted. And good evening, Alrays. Hope you are well. Alrays will be streaming on this Thursday night. Spelt can't make it, but Alrays has very kindly stepped in. So thank you for that, Alrays. You'll hear his beautiful Dutch voice on Thursday night. Right, let's see what Pete can do. Is reserving tonight. Four minutes left, which means drivers in the pits that want another run are going to have to think about coming out pretty soon. And of course, you don't want to be put out in any traffic. Pete into the 43s. Very nice lap there. And all of that AMS Fairley has gone P2. Only 9 milliseconds behind Hoike, so we could already be seeing a battle form between Hoike and Fairley here this evening. Maybe Connor's got some more pace. Maybe Slapbus, who won last time out, has got some more pace. Through Sector 2, he's only a fraction off his personal best. So that, depending on the last sector, how that goes for him, he may be able to improve slightly. How am I doing? I'm very well, thank you. I'm very well, thank you. I always look forward to Tuesday evenings. Looking forward to streaming. Now, my Wi-Fi is finally doing what it should do. Down to first gear goes Slapbus for the bus stop chicane there. I think most drivers probably go down to second, but Slapbus going down to first. Driver preference. So we'll go on board with APSRP, who is yet to set a lap time, and This will... He will get one more run after this if this does go invalidated. But if he spins or crashes, he may have to sit near the back of the field. He's got his teammate in front of him. Prev giving him a nice bit of a tow up Eau Rouge and Radion. That may have hurt him if he lost some downforce, but the slip shim could really have helped him, and we'll see where that first sector puts him. Eamon's fairly on another run. Improves by half a tenth. And goes fastest. Evening Predator. Hope you're well. Yeah, some people do go in different gears for different corners. You see a couple of drivers going down to first for very slow corners like bus stop, just so you get a bit more rotation in the wheels. I've been doing some practice on Imola, and I've actually found a better way to take one of the corners that's actually to go down an extra gear. So it's, you know, you learn everything by trying it out. APSRP, it's a clean lap. It needs to be faster than a 1 minute 45, it seems. That's the drop off right now, and it is. It's a 1 minute 44.8. He's got a couple of breathing room with Sam and Hyper behind. Let's see what Padge can do now. He's coming through Puon. Taking a lot of curb through those two corners there. Very brave of Padge. Through Stavlo. Nothing to compare this lap time to for a previous attempt, so we're just going to have to wait and see when Padge comes across the line how he does. Boo, Imola. So far, it's Maverick, Tadius Bear in the drop zone. Padge joins them. Chives is already out. He's unfortunately crashed in the earlier part of this session. Hoikei's starting a new lap, so he wants to see if he can beat Fairley's time of 1 minute 43.154. Checker flag falls. That guy's finished in 10th and looks relatively safe, you'd say. Has about a 6/10 cushion. Maverick, though, only has a couple of tenth cushion towards the safety time, which currently is the second McLaren of AJ Sam. That is the time to beat. Hyper, Tadius Bear and Padge all out on laps. Flew pits 44.4, so he's got half a second advantage, and Padge invalidates in sector 2. He will be starting in P18. Hyper has finished the session and has finished in 16th, so the only driver that can save themselves right now is Tadius Bear, running a little bit wide out of Puon but not getting invalidated. Maybe he's lost a bit of speed through that and no advantage is gained, but running wide there a little bit. Again, not getting invalidated, and he's 7/10 down on his time, so you can... Oh, and a big crash there. So everyone is safe from Appy upwards. AJ Sam goes quicker by 4/10, and there is Tadius Bear. Unfortunately, his car is not looking so tidy anymore, and the Williams team will have a big job on their hands. Okay, let's see if he can beat Fairley's time. Nope, he's a 10th off, but valiant effort nonetheless. We've got Dayman. And this will conclude Q1. And there you can see Chives' wheel in the middle of the pit entry. from where his car retired. So, Chai to the crash. Hadge with a crucial invalidation at the last minute. Tidiest Bear with a crash at the last minute too, and Hyper in the 1 minute 45s. They will be leaving us in this session. Of course, they will have a free choice of tyre for the race, so it might not be all doom and gloom. And of course, starting near the back of the grid, you can't really go backwards. The only way is up, as they say. So still plenty of opportunities for those 4 drivers. And indeed, that was a big one, Arrows. Very easy to do on that corner, actually. And Clements actually pops up with a very quick lap time right at the death there. 1 minute 43.2 for him. Only half a tenth away from MS Fairley. So, Clements reserving this evening could be finding himself in a fight for the win. So they have a list of drivers out will be Chives, Padge, Tidy's Bear and Hyper from this session. As for the remaining 15 drivers, well, they'll go through to Q2 and an opportunity to go through to the top 10 shootout. And I didn't get to say it last week, so I'll say it this week, and I've been looking forward to this. This is where strategy takes center stage. And you can already see some drivers equipping the medium tyres. For the top 10, they get through to Q3. Whatever lap time they have done to get them through, whatever tyre they use, they must start the race on those tyres. Do you go for the mediums? Do you go for the soft tyre? Already lots of drivers out on the mediums. We've got Pete, RP, Fairley, Wiggles, Dayman, Hoike and that guy. All out. Well, not all out on the track yet, but all equipping the medium tyres onto their car. SLR Connor, though, is out on the soft tyres. And it looks like Connor doesn't want to be stuck behind that Alpine of Hoike. Hoike just thinks, I'll just sit behind Connor for now. Or does he? Looks like maybe Hoy wants that track position back, but there's no point wasting your tyres in quali over a bit of track position. May as well just back off and save the tyres, especially for those mediums that Hoike's out on. Very long lap here, as we said, 7 kilometres, 1 minute 40 seconds there or thereabouts to get round, so you do need quite a slow out lap and in lap, whatever tyres you're starting the race on, otherwise they will be very worn come the start of the race. Maybe forced into an early pit stop or a different strategy. Go on board with Prev now, as he starts the first flying lap of Q2. Only Fairley, Maverick and Dr. Edward in the pits right now, so 12 drivers out on track. And that is Fairley coming out of the pits there. So now 13 drivers out on track at the same time. It's going to get very congested out there. You need to pick your track position well. Prev using the soft tyre, matching those tyres to his beautiful Scarlet Red Ferrari. It's always very satisfying when you see the colours match. Like when you see an Aston Martin with intermediate tyres on. Or a Haas with hard tyres on. Makes you smile. Looked like Prev got a bit of understeer there through Puon. Of course, different drivers may have different setups. Do they go for a low downforce setup and maximise their top speed, which could really help in sectors 1 and 3? But do they go for a bit more downforce, which will really help them in sector 2? It's all down to the driver. Still Dr. Edward and Maverick in the pit, so still the 13 out on track. Maverick is on an out lap right now. Everyone else on a flying lap, with the exception of Maverick and Fairley. So a lot of times are going to be flooding in, and Prev starts it off with a 1 minute 44.3 on the soft tyres. SL O'Connor around the final corner he comes. 44.8. Wiggles 44.6 on the mediums. Okay, now to the line on the medium tyres. He sets a 1 minute 50. We know he can go quicker than that, so that was just a second warm-up lap. Maybe he had an issue in some part of the lap there. Slap bus, he's invalidated his first attempt, but he will go again. He's on the soft tyre. Here comes Appy now. He's invalidated too, so some drivers struggling perhaps this evening. He's on the mediums, is Appy. Here comes Kemments now. Very strong performance in Q1. Can he keep it up on the mediums? Only 6 milliseconds behind Wiggles on those medium tyres, so good effort from him there. Here comes Flew now across the line. He goes P4 on the softs. And we've got Pete coming around the final corner now. He's on the mediums. 47.7. We know he can go quicker than that. He did that on the soft. He beat that on the soft tyre in Q1. So expect Pete and Hoy to go a lot quicker than what they've just done. Here comes Dayman to the line now. What can he achieve? P6. Maverick starting his flying lap, and here comes the McLaren of AJ Sam. I think he invalidated as well, starting a new fresh lap. Pete 4 tenths up in sector 1 than his previous lap. We are expecting him to go a couple of seconds at least quicker, but we just don't know how good that first sector was. Okay, going fastest, medium tyres, and replaced very quickly by AMS Fairley again on the mediums. Those two continuing their fight. Very quick lap times there from them two. They should be pretty confident that those times are perhaps times they could get through to Q3 on. Pete 1.2 up. So still expecting a little bit more in the last sector. We'll see how much. That guy does a very leisurely 2 minutes and 7 seconds. But we know he can go quicker than that. Is race also dry? I believe so. We haven't been told there's rain. Oh, love a bit of fish and chips. Love that Lando. Right, Pete across the line, what can he do? 45.1. 2.6 second gain on his lap. Currently puts in P9. So, a bit of a split up and down the field between soft runners and medium runners. I'm trying to think who's on a lap. I think that guy's on a lap. Or this guy, should we say. Fairly got a puncture. Very interesting. And that guy comes into the pits. Maybe he's thinking, nah, just bin off the mediums, we'll go for a run on the soft tyres. And wants to give himself as much time as possible. Yeah, I've never heard of someone getting a puncture in qualifying. And whether that... So for instance, if it was the puncture in quali, and that's his fastest lap time tyre, Does he use it for the race? Are they miraculously fixed? Dr. Edward has retired, and that is at Les Combes, where we saw Padge had... no, it wasn't Padge, it was someone else. Had a bit of an issue through Les Combes in Q1. And Dr. Edward has crashed. So Dr. Edward will be out in this session and will start P15. That is assuming Sam and Maverick can set a valid lap time. Fairly got a puncture off of Wiggles. What happened then, Wiggles? Let us know your... what happened from your perspective. Bit of a snap of oversteer through the first part of the bus stop, which came from Maverick. As pretty much every driver is in the pits now, with the exception of Maverick and AMS Fairley. And there you can see the puncture. It's a rear left. That is a... So this is a very dangerous track to have a puncture on, because it's a very fast track, and this track wants you to go fast all the time. Of course, the faster you go with a puncture, could easily spin, crash. I've had punctures before in qualifying. I'm not sure if you can use those or not. Well, I'll have to wait and see, because if Fairley can't use those tyres, he may get a new set of mediums for the race, which would benefit him. Or he may get a free choice. It's because you do get a new set of mediums for the race, so he actually may be blessed here by getting a new set of mediums for the race. We just don't know. My arm unpaused and put me in the wall. Oh gosh. That is not good for Dr. Edward. A few drivers filtering back onto the track. We've got Slapbus, Pete and AJ Sam all out. Maverick still out on the track, but could be on an in-lap, who knows. Hit a wall, debris went flying. On the chicane, I hit the wall, the rest is history. Well, I'm sure it wasn't on purpose. I'm sure it's just a bit of an accident. Appy says that set are gone. I wouldn't be surprised if that set were gone. But, of course, he got... Oh, and AJ Sam, bit of a spin there into the wall, but not big enough to cause a crash. That is on his outlap, so if he hasn't got damage, he can pick up his car and pick up where he left off and go for another run. Other than that, he's only got a few minutes left. So... bit of pressure now on AJ Sam's shoulders. But yeah, if you've qualified on the mediums and then that set of ruins, you may get a new set of mediums for the race. We just don't know. We'll have to check in with Fairley if we possibly can. So, Slapbus now. Coming to the top of Radion, onto the Camel Straight, flat out. Over 200 miles an hour with DRS, especially when in the race, if you have DRS on the car in front and using overtake as well. Could get some very high top speeds this evening. And invalidating at the end of Les Combes. Mistake there. And AMS Fairley is in the chat. We are talking about the situation that you're on. We think the set that you qualified on are going to be ruins, but you may get a new set of mediums for the race because you did qualify mediums. Obviously, that does sort of play into your hands. Other than that, you'll get a free choice, which again is very, very fortunate for you. So I doubt you'll be starting the race on a punctured set of tyres. Let's just put it that way. So you may have got a bit of luck there. Who knows? Let us know in the chat when you know Fairley. Maybe in the 5-minute break, let us know what set of tyres you have to start the race on. Back to the action. A couple of minutes left in the session. drivers on outlaps. Top 3 are all in the pits, as is Kemmons. Wiggles back out on the pits. That guy is still in the pits, and with only 1 minute 30 seconds left, he will be heading out. Not enough time to go out on the track for an outlap. Where is Ross? I'm not sure, Ross fan. I'm not sure. Prev out on an outlap. He's currently sitting P3. Sitting quite pretty there, using the soft tyre. Everyone using the mediums, apart from only 3 drivers now. Make that 4 as Pete comes across the line and goes P4 on a set of softs. Wickham fairly retiring, so Wiggles going fastest with the soft tyre. Kemmons in the pits. Bit of a risk for him, perhaps. We will expect to see Kemmons fall a little bit down the standings, but whether he can make it in the top 10 or not is another question. We'll have to wait and see. Here comes Flew now. Behind him, we have SLR Connor, who is on an outlap. He'll be gearing up to start a flying lap. Flew goes P5. Pushes Kemmons down to P7 now, who has already retired. SLR Connor, this is his one chance at getting through to Q3. You have to think that it's a little bit risky to stay on that 44.8. He needs to make sure this lap counts, and here comes APS RP, who is almost a second up on his time. Those soft tyres really make the difference in qualifying, and we'll see if Appy can make it. P4 he goes, and that looks pretty safe to me. His teammate, meanwhile, Prev, has already finished and just coming round. Who have we got now? I think we've got Maverick, who is coming through Blanchimont in Sector 3. Behind him we've got the McLaren of AJ Sam and a blue car, which I can only assume is the Slap Bus. So we'll have to wait and see. If all 3 of them make it into the top 10, Kemmons may be heading out. Here comes Maverick now. P11 missing out on 10th by just half a tenth of a second. Got Wiggles, but he's not on a lap. Pete is invalid on this attempt, so he won't be able to improve from his P7. Slapbus has finished his session and sticks on the medium tyre. That is very interesting. And with Dayman going very, very slow, he's got away with it as Slapbus. He does stay in the top 10. SLR Connor doesn't need to finish this lap if he don't want to. And he knows that. Into the pits he comes. So, there you have it. Dr. Edward with the crash early in the session, with his arm unpausing his game. Very unfortunate way to go. But nonetheless, he will start P15. That guy will start P14. AJ Sam in 13th. Dayman 12th. Maverick 11th. Missing out on Q3 by just half a tenth of a second. So you have it. Wiggles, Fairley, Hoike, Appy, Prev, Flew, Pete, Kemmons, Connor and Slapbus all making it through, and 5 of those drivers will be on the soft tyre, 5 of those drivers will be on the mediums. Should make for an interesting race start. So you have it, confirmation. Wiggles is fastest in Q2 but needed the soft tyre to go fastest. Fairley and Hoike on the mediums. Again, a very, what's the word? An influx of Dutch drivers, all very close in qualifying. Hoike, Appy and Prev within a few tenths of each other. The 3 Dutch, the Flying Dutchmans, I think we might call them, or something. Anyway, Flew representing France, Pete in Denmark, I think that is, Kemmons in Turkey, and 2 more Brits of Connor and Slapbus. Maverick, Dayman, AJ Sam, that guy, and Dr. Edward heading out of this session. And we'll have a free choice of tyre for the start of the race. And as Q3 gets underway, strategy takes a back seat, or pace takes over. Let's get your predictions in chat. Who do you think is going to be up there for qualifying on pole? Let us know your predictions in the chat. Get them in nice and quick. And already we have Slapbus, very eager to get out there, has some good track position now. All of these drivers will switch out the mediums for the softs. Whether it's 1 run or 2 runs, who knows? We'll find out in due time. We're not expecting any records to be broken now the performance patch is out on this new game, but PSRY Jamin in AT1 has the record for quali, and the reason I mention records is because last season I gained the race record, and it's the only record I have, and I'm very proud of it. I don't want anyone to beat it ever. If you beat it, I will beat you. There we go. Now that we got the rules out of the way, and a vaguely passive-aggressive threat thrown your way, let's look at the predictions. Hoi K, I reckon, says Dayman. Hoi Wiggles fairly, says Alrays. Mr. Wiggles Hoi K fairly again. Wiggles gets a couple of votes. Doesn't usually get predicted for pole, but Wiggles showing some good pace here this evening. It's normally the usual suspects of SLR Connor Hoi K fairly. But we may see Slapbus in there. He did win last time out in Hungary. We may see Kements up there in Q1. He had a very quick time indeed. Prev and Pete still in the pit, so maybe just going for 1 run, although having said that, Pete's jinxed me there. He's come out on track right as I'm talking, but Prev may be going for the 1 run, so just waiting for some drivers to do their laps, and then we'll have all of the track to himself pretty much when he comes out for his run. Slapbus is followed down the straight by Pete, who is not going for the toe, he's just on an outlap. We got Wiggles coming to the end of the Camel Straight, one of the Ferraris, that is APS-RP. They will be the first few drivers to set lap time, so we'll try and go on board with them as quick as we can. We'll run through the drivers' standings and constructors' standings in the 5-minute break that will immediately follow this Q3 session. That is unless none of the drivers ready up too soon, of course. Fingers crossed, I may have just jinxed that as well. Looking like Slapbus is on it this lap. You can just tell from the way he's driving this car that he is really pushing this. See how he manoeuvres this very tricky chicane. A lot of curb on the exit, on the entry. Not touching the second curb at all. Across the line, 143.2, very nice indeed. Here comes Mr. Wiggles, fastest in Q2. Let's see what he can achieve. It's a 1 minute 43.5. And now we've got APS-RP across the line. We've got the Mercedes. One of the 2 Mercedes behind. Appy goes P3. SLR Connor has invalidated and will go for a second run at the start of Q3. Here comes Flu now into the bus stop. He has kept it clean in this lap. But how quick is it? Across the line he comes, and it will not be quick enough to beat Appy by a couple of tenths. Here comes AMS Fairley, very quick in Q1. Very quick on the mediums in Q2. Will he make it a trifecta? And no, he doesn't. Slapbus has pipped him to provisional pole. Hoike into the pits. And that could have just been a mistake on his lap. Here comes Kements. A lot of curb through the bus stop there. See if it pays off. Across the line it looks good. And it's only a couple of tenths off a provisional pole. P3 for Kements. Very nice indeed. We got Pete, who is out on a second lap, and SLR Connor out on the second lap. Hoike and Prev both in the pits. Are you calling me a boomer, Lando? I'm not too sure if calling someone a boomer is an insult. I think it is. Slapbus goes even quicker. He's gone for a second run, and wow, 0.3 faster into the 42s. And his grip on provisional pole has just got better by 0.4 of a second. Here comes Pete now across the line. Where can he put? He puts it P5. SLR Connor now into the bus stop. This one is valid up until the bus stop chicane, where he does go red. And that may invalidate his next time. No, that was a 43.0 from Connor, so he's only a 10th away from pole here. But yeah, Slapbus, what a lap. Did say in Q1, look out for Slapbus. He won last time out in Hungary. And I think Connor will be forced to pit this lap due to fuel. Although it looks like he's still going for it here. All drivers coming into the pits now. Prev is still in the pits. Flew into the pits, Kemmets into the pits. Hoike is on an out lap. And SLR Connor invalidates this attempt. No doubt he'll be coming into the pits on this occasion. 5 minutes left of Q3. This is where pressure really starts. Okay, very consistent this season so far. Letting the Mercedes of Fairley through, who is on the lap actually. Through sector 2, he's 0.4 up. Needs a tiny bit more in sector 3 if he wants to take pole. But this looking like a good lap so far. Fuel's running a bit low. Could have taken some fuel out of the car to maximise the car's performance through the bus stop chicane. Needs to be flawless if he wants to go provisional pole. Will it be a Mercedes on the front row again? Yes, it will, and what a lap time that is, a 1 minute 42.5. Once again, Fairley never ceases to amaze me. Just when you think you saw his true pace, goes even quicker than you thought he would. Slapbus on an outlap, Flew on an outlap, Hoike on a flying lap, everyone else in the pits. And a WTF in the chat from Lando. My thoughts exactly. Let's see what Hoy can do here. They've had a good fight between Hoy and Fairley this season. And as a neutral, I'm certainly hoping that that battle continues to be so tight this season. ABS Aures, the Dutchman himself, rooting for fellow Dutchman Hoike. Flew has started his flying lap. He got Prev, SLR Connor and Appy on outlaps too. Wiggles is also out. Kemmets and Pete still in the pits. AMS Fairley may go for a second run here, so don't be surprised if he goes quick. In fact, there's yellow flags around him. He's probably on a slow lap here. 2 minutes left of the session. If Kemmets and Pete want another lap, they need to come out, and they both are coming out onto the pit as we speak. So all 10 drivers out on the track. Hoike now around the final corner, just misses the final apex of the bus stop chicane. Across the line, what can he do? 42.5 to beat, can only manage P3. And he slows down, so that could be it for Hoi K. P3 could be the best that he can manage in this session. Flu has invalidated, but should have enough time to come around for another lap if all is well with his fuel situation. Amos Fairley is off the track, just letting drivers through, and here come the Valtteri Bottas lawnmower Mercedes jokes from Austria. Slap bus, half a tenth up in sector 1. Needs over 4 tenths improvement. Wiggles has crashed at Eau Rouge and Raidillon. He will stay P4. He won't be able to improve his time, but he may still keep hold of P4 if no one can beat his time. Slapbus gains in sector 2. Will it be enough? Eau Rouge curb, so easy to do. I doubt that'll be the last time we say that this evening, or indeed this week. Slapbus crossed the line and goes provisional pole by a few hundredths of a second. It's a great lap. Checkered flag has fallen. Next across the line is Prev, coming around Blanchimont now. Behind him we've got SLR Connor. Prev goes P7, and that is where he will finish. And that PA, SLR Connor goes P3, 43.0, very nice indeed. But not quite quick enough to challenge those top two. A provisional pole, but third, not too bad there for SLR Connor. See if he can keep hold of that in the remaining couple of minutes. Flew now, 44.5 was his best. This will be quicker, but by how much? By 3/4 of a second, and goes P7. Nice lap indeed there. Apisapi into the pit, so he will start P10 alongside his teammate Prev. Got Kemments, who was invalidated and getting out of the way of Pete, who was also invalidated, so they both cannot improve. It is down to Hoi K and Slapbus, but Slapbus is invalidated here, so Hoi K is the only one worth watching. He's 1/4 of a second up in the second sector, which means he will jump SL O'Connor if he continues at this pace. But a mighty last sector, and maybe he may be able to challenge it for the front row. Around the final corner, DRS activation, what can he manage? He can manage P3, he does gain in the last sector, but not quite enough to get it onto the front row. Very nice there from Hoi K, but Slapbus and Fairley again, very close out in the top two places. Slapbus just edging Fairley on this occasion. I believe AMS Fairley took pole from Slapbus last week by a very small margin, so Slapbus fighting back, it would seem, Hoi K. And SL O'Connor on row 2 of the grid. Mr. Wiggles only lost 1 place after that crash at the end of Q3. He'll start P5 on row 3 of the grid alongside Kemments. Flew and Pete 7th and 8th, and the 2 Ferraris of Prev and Appy are in 9th and 10th. Wiggers says he'll take 5th. Moment of truth, says Fairley, and indeed, we will see just what tyres Fairley starts the race on. For those who didn't quite catch it on stream, watching live, in Q2, Fairley set a lap time on the mediums that was good enough to get through. But unfortunately, that set of tyres got a puncture after running over some debris. So, we assume it won't give Fairley that set of medium tyres. That wouldn't be very fair. So the question is, what tyres is Fairley going to be using? We can see some soft tyres on the ground there outside his garage in the bottom right hand side of your screen. I'll tell you what, I'll have a look at Race Director. It says mediums, so he may get a new set of medium tyres there. We will have a 4 to 5 minute break, as is our custom here. Allows the drivers a little bit of respite before the race starts. Grab a snack or a drink or use the loo or whatever you need to do. Hyper predictions meter crash. That's the thing, sometimes you don't need to be quick, sometimes you need to be smart to win races. If there's safety cars coming out all the time, quite often the driver who wins the races is the person who's on the best strategy. Tyres look okay. You never know, it might have given you the same set, but just fixed the puncture. So we'll have to wait and see. Let us know if you have any tyre deg on the formation lap, Fairley. Like left over from Q2, that is. Otherwise, you might be on a new set of mediums, which I wouldn't complain about. I think we are expecting a one-stop strategy, but we'll have a look at the predicted pit stop strategies when the race, when the formation lap starts. Game's pretty handy at giving us some predictions there. As for the drivers' standings, Fairley got a nice handy P2, which gained him 16 points on our championship leader Hoike. The gap out front, Hoike is leading Fairley by just 14 points. And with, oh goodness, over 10 races left of the season, it's still... I expect this battle to be going on for a long portion of this season. Only 2 drivers this season showing up to every single race and getting points in every single race. They are Hoike and Prev, who sits in P4 in the championship. He's on 71 points, only 5 points behind third place Ross, who DNF'd in Hungary last week after an unfortunate strategy incident with the wet weather tyres. And that is why Hoike only picked up 2 points last week. And of course, with Ross's absence tonight, Prev could go P3 in the championship standings here this evening with 6 points or more. So that is a 7th place or higher for Prev, and he will go P3 in the championship tonight. We've got Essel O'Connor. He's missed a couple of races at Canada and Great Britain and DNF in France, which means he's had 3 races without points scored. He's currently in P5 in the championship on 51 points. That's a 9-point gap on John, who hasn't started the last 4 races, so looking to extend that gap. What about the constructors' points then? We've got Mercedes out in front by 23 points. They are on 181. 158 points for the Alpine of Hoike and Dr. Edward. Alfa Romeo are in third and are 8 points to the good on 4th place Ferrari team of Appy and Prev, who both made it into the top 10 shootout. We've got 2 points separating whatever team this is, Red Bull and Williams. They're only separated by 2 points, and only 4 points separating Haas and McLaren. So lots of good fights going up and down for the Constructors and Drivers' Championship, but it's still early days. And we are expecting the race to start in the next 30 seconds or so. This track no stranger to a crash or an incident or a safety car, as we've already seen. A few crashes going on in quali. So do the drivers underfuel their cars, where they can gain that lost fuel back in safety car conditions, or do they avoid relying on the safety car to come out and fuel their car to a suitable amount? And here, of course, setup comes into play. We could see drivers running a bit more downforce to help with the heavy fuel loads. So many variants we don't know about and are going to affect this race. So formation lap will get underway, and they see predicted pit stop strategy is a medium to hard or a 2-stop, a medium soft medium or a medium medium soft, depending on what tickles your fancy. And here we can see a set of tyres that everyone will be starting on. As we already know, 5 of the top 10 qualified on mediums. They are the top 4 Slapbus Fairley Hoyke SR Connor and P6 Kemmets. It says soft medium RS Fanatic, but it doesn't say that on the screen, so we'll have to just wait and see what happens. The rest of the top 10 on the soft tyre: Wiggles, Flew, Pete, Prevapi. Tyres brand new, says Fairley. Yeah, I assumed so. Outside of the top 10 there, we got Maverick, Dayman, AJ Sam all on the soft tyres. That guy, Dr. Edward and Hyper on the mediums. We've got Tiniest Bear, the only driver on the hard tyres. Have to wait and see how that works out for him. Padge and Shives at the back of the field on the mediums too. So a bit of a spread of strategy. We've got the front runners on mediums, we've got a lot of the midfield on soft, and we've got a hard runner at the back. So we'll have to wait and see. And a very long formation lap. Longest track on the calendar. Gives you plenty of opportunity to warm your tyres. Let's get your predictions in chat in the next 20 or so seconds, 30 seconds. Who's going to be on the podium? Do you think it's going to be a lot of the usual suspects who have got podiums this season already? Do you think someone new, maybe like Kemmets reserving this evening, will jump up in there? Or maybe Flew, who looks to be in a nice handy spot in P7. Maybe one of the Ferraris will jump in there. You never know. Let us know your predictions in the chat. Who do you think is going to be on the podium tonight? And Slapbus very keen to make sure that the drivers are directly following him. Doesn't want to race off into the distance. You don't dare to do a prediction today. Dayman and Sam disqualified. That is on the run to the bus stop chicane. This should keep a lot of their tyre wear, seeing as at the end of the lap, tyre temperature, seeing as it was the very end of the lap, but maybe we'll have to look at them off the line and see if they lose any places with some cold tyres. Got Chives just forming the back of the grid. And APS Hourrays has decided to do a prediction. We love an Hourrays prediction, says Hoy, Wiggles and Connor. Currently 3 of the top 5. And here you go, everyone's loaded in, the lights are loading in. And the Belgian Grand Prix is underway. A very short run down to turn 1, and it looks like Slapbus has got a nice little start. Bit of a wiggle there from Wiggles, and he's losing a couple of places. Kemmets there up a couple of places as well. We'll have to see. A lot of drivers going wide in turn 1, and there's a car round. It's the AlphaTauri of Kemmets. He is round into the wall, and a big accident going on there. It looks like Tiniest Bear may have got caught up in there. He's a little bit away from Padge, going down to the Camel straight now. Slapbus is leading from AMS Fairley. Of course, no DRS for the first few laps, and it looks like there's an Aston Martin of that guy who was maybe spun at the top of Razion. Battle for third heating up here. Hoyke and SL O'Connor going very, very close to each other, making contact into Lacombe, and these top two already have a second gap on third place Hoy. SL O'Connor may have some damage here as he's just been passed by Wiggles. Have to keep an eye on that Mercedes car, see if there is any damage anyway. It doesn't look like there's damage. Maybe Wiggles just capitalising on Connor and Hoy's fight there. Again, still early doors. Keep your predictions coming in for the race podium. Padge, excellent start, was 18th, now up to 13th, from just behind his teammate AJ Sam. Padge having a really good start, opening laps of the race. Appy has also had an unfortunate start. He started in the top 10, he's now in 16th, so he's been caught up in some kind of incident or perhaps a mistake, we just don't know. Fairley using overtake to get past Slapbus into the bus stop chicane. And there is a new leader of the race. Still no DRS, lap 2 of 22. DRS will be in effect from lap 3 onwards. Maverick and Hyper into the pits, as is Tidiest Bear, as is APS Appy. I'll tell you what, Chives has had an absolute flyer on 2 laps practice. Crashes in Q1, starts P19, and he's already up into 8th. What an incredible first lap there for Chives. All of the bottom 6 you can see in the pit, so lots of contact happening on lap 1 that unfortunately we haven't got round to seeing. What we can see is Chives having an absolutely monster of a lap 1. Behind Pete and Prev, already in the points is Chives. Nice racing there. Appy and Clements onto the hard tyre, Tidiest Bear onto the mediums, that guy and Hyper onto the softs, Maverick onto the mediums, and those 6 will be hoping for a safety car if their shot at points is going to be a realistic one this evening. Oh, and Chives a bit of a spin there, does well not to go into the wall, but he is spinning and he will lose some places there. Yellow flag in sector 1. It looks like that guy has had a bit of an incident as well. Maybe some contact with Kements. They were quite close coming out of the pits, so that may be an incident for the steward. We do not know at the moment. But these top 6, all very close. Fairley, Slapbus, Wiggles, Hoy, Connor and Prev. Any of these 6 drivers could be in with a shot at podium here. DRS is now enabled, so we'll go on board with the Williams and Slapbus and see if he can get a move done on Fairley. Maverick has retired, and that has brought out a virtual safety car, and that has completely ruined the plans of these drivers to use some DRS this lap. And Maverick has crashed just after the corner where we saw AJ Sam crash out in quali earlier on. Was it AJ Sam? No, Tidiest Bear, sorry. So where we saw Tidiest Bear early in qualifying crash, just after that corner Maverick has unfortunately DNF'd. Virtual safety car could end at any moment. Drivers don't want to speed under virtual safety car Delta. They will get a drive-through penalty if they do, so look out for that at the top of your screen. There you have it, no drive-throughs given out. Drivers abiding by the rules, and it looks like Fairley may have just lost a couple of tenths in that VSC debacle. Wiggles doing well, P3 for him, he started P5. That crash in Q3 not affecting his confidence right now. And Slapbus a little bit wide there out of Stavilo, and could potentially give an opportunity to Wiggles, who is only a couple of tenths behind, going through Blanchimont. Nice start to the race, not too frantic, but enough action going on that keeping hopefully all of you guys entertained. Of course, now DRS activation comes back into it after the VSC has ended. So now Fairley will be hoping and praying that Slapbus and Wiggles fight and lose ground on Fairley here. Otherwise, we may see a new leader of the race very soon. A few gaps starting to form in the midfield. Pete, Flew, Dayman, Dr. Edward all out of DRS range of the car in front. That guy is retired, and that is just before Stavilo, so maybe a bit of curb there in Sector 2. Will there be a safety car coming out? There's no other drivers around him at the moment, and that car is cleared very quickly. It still says at the top of our screen there's a yellow flag, but on the track map there isn't a yellow flag out. In fact, there's a different yellow flag out. So I wonder what's happened there. Anyways, Wiggles is up for a fight here. You can just see with the way he's driving. Got a little bit more grip with those soft tyres. Slapbus under pressure here. He needs to try and put the pressure on fairly ahead. But also doesn't want to get overtaken by the Haas behind. This race is beautifully poised. All of the top 6 within DRS range, and Chives is now out. And he's crashed at the same point where that guy just crashed out. So that corner has claimed 2 victims in the last lap, and a safety car has been deployed. The issue here is, has the safety car been deployed at just a time where Fairley and Slapbus couldn't pit? A lot of, in fact everyone apart from the top 2 and Dayman staying out. Of course, the likes of Appy and Kamens and Hyper have already pitted, and Tidiest Bear, so they may stay out. So Dayman inherits P3, but will need to stop. It was bound to happen. That's unfortunate for Chives. But you do have that extraordinary lap 1, which I'm sure everyone would love to see a clip of if you have it. What a mighty lap 1 you had, Chives, from 19th to P8. You can be proud of that one. Kamens into the pits, maybe not enjoying those hard tyres, maybe wants a set of the mediums. So then, everyone where it says no laps next to their tyre compound has stopped on this lap. Wiggles, Hoike, Salok on a Prev, Flew, AJ Sam, Dr. Edward, Padge, Pete and Kamens all pitting under the safety car, as is Hyper, who unfortunately gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane in the process. Tidiest Bet and APS Appy staying out, as are the top 3, who will need to make another mandatory pit. Who will need to make a mandatory pit stop. Tidiest Bear and Appy don't have to stop again. Oh dear, Hyper. I remember why I stopped being the lane driver. It is very tricky, as we say, as we get the red safety car this week. As I say every single week in the no assist tier 1 division, it is the hardest form of sim racing that you can possibly do, and I have the utmost respect for everyone who does it. Dayman deciding for a late pit stop. The fight will be on whether he can get out ahead of APS Appy, who's coming down towards the bus stop chicane now. But still, these top 2, deciding that the pit stop is not quite worth it on this occasion. Maybe they're expecting another safety car to come out in this race. And if it does, that may present a better opportunity for them to pit. But as it stands, it looks like Mr. Wiggles might be in the prime position right now to mount a charge for the race win. But of course, there are still many laps to complete, 16. And it's a very long track, so anything can still happen. APS Appy and Kemments all pitting again this lap. So saw Dayman go into the pits this lap. He has made it out ahead of the Ferrari of Prev. Sits behind Thaddeus Bear in P12. And what has happened to Hoy K here? He's had a spin. And he's not missing an end plate here, so maybe on cold tyres, Hoy K has spun under safety car here, or no, not contact. He would have got a 5-second penalty for it, but yeah, Hoy K is spun, and our championship leader finds himself in 13th. Promotes the likes of Connor Flew, Sam, Edward, Padge, Pete, Thaddeus Bear, Dayman and Prev. Wonder what happened there, whether he just lost it under acceleration, or whether it was cold tyres, whether it was trying to avoid an incident and then a spin occurred. Who knows what happened here, but safety car not coming in just yet. Just waiting for Hyper to gain to the back of the field. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see what's happened with Hoy, and what's happened to Thaddeus Bear. Thaddeus Bear has dropped it under safety car as well. It looks like he might not have big damage, but he's dropped it through Blanchimont. Very strange occurrings. I wonder if he'll dive into the pits. No, so maybe his car is still alright. Maybe it hasn't got any damage and needs to fix. But very strange. Maybe it's just cold tyres that the drivers are struggling with. So that now has promoted Hoy back up to 12th, which I'm sure he'll be happy with. I have to say, really good race being raced from both McLarens right now. Both starting outside of the top 10, both inside of the top 10. Also Flew up to P5. Wants to become famous? I'm already famous, I'm the Sun God, mate. I know it's a bot. I'm just kidding. Still waiting for that job opportunity at Sky though. Sky Sports F1. Still waiting for it. Thank you, Hyper. So, safety car should be in this lap. AMS Valley can finally get us back underway. Remember, the top two still need to pit, so they will lose around 20 seconds in the pits. Hyper's got floor damage. Oh gosh, is that in your house or in your car? Yeah, when they're gone for land, let a few to Sky. I'm hoping that maybe could get in on some F3 commentary, perhaps. Maybe that's the way in your house. So safety car will be in, and safety car's already gone through Blanchimont, and Fairley is not there yet, so he's back in the field up. Maybe perhaps going for an early restart. And it looks like he's gone. Slapbus and Wiggles doing well here to stay on the back of that Mercedes. That Mercedes tried to catch them out. Safety car is in the pits. And finally, on lap 8, the racing is back underway. We got 14 laps of racing. Pete is past Padge for P8. Both of them using the hard tyres after safety car pit stops. Top 3 only separated by a second. Aston O'Connor has lost a little bit of time, and perhaps under pressure from the Aston Martin that flew behind. But here they come now as Pete retires up Eau Rouge and Radion. And will that be another safety car, I wonder? It's just a yellow flag at the moment. We may get away with no safety car here, but fingers crossed. Padge has now been passed by Dayman for P8. So Padge is still in P9, still in the points, still doing well. Fairly doing well to defend from these two on the Kemmel Straight. And Wiggles is very close to the back of that Williams car. Wiggles definitely looks like he is going to fight for this. I mean, Wiggles doesn't need to overtake. He's already got SL O'Connor out of DRS range behind, and these top two, they definitely need to pit. We know this. They have to, otherwise they'll get disqualified from the race. So Wiggles doesn't need to overtake here. He can just be a DRS hoarder and just gain time on Connor with some DRS from these two. He doesn't need to overtake. But these two will be fighting hard, I imagine. But still, Wiggles very persistent on the back of that Williams. Padge losing some places on this lap, so maybe has some damage that we don't know about, or has been involved in an incident. He's not pitted, but he has dropped to P13. Still within striking distance of APS Appy. And here comes Slapbus now, side by side with AMS. Fairly looked like Fairly cut him off there, but maybe Slapbus wasn't alongside. Maybe he didn't deserve that space, but managed to avoid an incident there to the top two. Notorious says worst game known to man. Well, some people love it, some people hate it, some people haven't had the bugs that other people have, so that may affect their game opinions. These top three are pulling away from SL O'Connor. Remember, DRS not enabled until lap 3 after the safety car. Thaddeus Bear, 3-second time penalty. Hoy K, meanwhile, is fighting his way back up. Spun under safety car, dropped to 13th. He's now up to P8, but does have a time penalty on his hands. Very spaced out in the midfield. Padge has passed Appy. Hoy K, meanwhile, has dropped places, and what's happened to him? Oh, he's gone into the wall, it looks like, perhaps. Yeah, he's got maybe just a spin, or maybe a bit of a contact between someone else. DRS is now enabled. Clements trying to recover from dropping down the standings a little bit during the race. Good fight going for P8 here, Prev defending. Join on board with the Slapbus, who will have DRS on our race leader Fairly. And hello TD to you, good evening. And there's a safety car, and Connor's out, and he's crashed at Eau Rouge and Radion. And there you'll see Connor's car on the right hand side into the barrier. Wheel off, driver out. And another safety car. And this could be the opportunity that Fairly and Slapbus are looking for to pit. Radion takes another. Indeed it does. Thaddeus Bear also retiring. What's happened there? is Tidiest Bear retired? I think he may have retired at Eau Rouge, or maybe he retired in the pits, but it drove his car back out. But yeah, right as TD joins, Connor crashes. There you go, Connor, you can blame TD for your retirement this evening. Indeed, crazy stuff. SL O'Connor looking pretty good there in E4. Was on for a good solid handful of points. And there you have it. Top two are into the pits. Wiggles is released and leads this race. Of course, the safety car will bunch everyone up. We'll just check on Hyper and Hoy's time penalties. 8 seconds for Hyper, so he should be able to serve 5 seconds in the pits. And that was for speeding in the pit lane last time. But both of the drivers have residual 3-second time penalties that they do have to take onto the end of the race. So, in a big shift around, for the remaining 9 or 10 laps of the race, the Slap Bus and Fairley are on brand new soft tyres and have 5 drivers ahead of them on slower tyres. The question is, have Fairley and Slap Bus absolutely nailed this strategy? Thank you for the follow, Dan's Motorsport. Appreciate that. I hope you're enjoying the stream. What happened to the rest of the people? Maverick retired on lap 1. I'll check race director and it'll probably jog my memory. So Maverick retiring on lap 2 with a crash. Then that guy crashing at the same place around this part of the track where the drivers are now. So that happened. Chives crashed, yeah, around the same place again in Sector 2. We had Pete who crashed, I think bringing out a safety car, and then Connor and Tidiest Bear are the 2 latest retirees. And as soon as Hyper gains to the back of the field, we should be ready for racing, but we won't be ready for racing this lap. We'll have to wait one more, which is one more lap that Fairley and Slap Bus could really have made some moves on the field in front of them. No worries, I know Fairley thinks someone tried to add me to the league, but the race times are too early for me. That's unfortunate, but you know, you still get a stream out of it, and you can still enjoy the racing, even if you're not in the cockpit yourself. So, hope you enjoy the streams, mate. We have 3 streams per week, Tuesday, Thursday night and Sunday night. However, this week we'll be moving the Sunday to Monday due to the time of the real-life Mexican Grand Prix. So, assist tier 2 drivers, if you're watching the stream, remember your drive is on Monday coming and not Sunday. Dr. Edward, I have so much floor and sidebar damage from turn 1. Well, I have to say, you're in the top 10 and have a set of soft tyres on, so there could be opportunities for you to get some more points here, even with that damage. So, field is bunched up. Big question. Will this podium stay the way it is? Because I'm sure, after qualifying, no one was expecting this kind of a race with this top 5. Not saying they're not quick enough to be in the top 5, I'm just saying with the crazy race we've had, I'm sure even these top 5 are surprised of these top 5 positions. Of course, everything could change. This has brought Hoi K back into the race. He's P8 and only 1 position behind Slapbus and Fairley. Of course, Hoi has that 3-second time penalty, which now the field is all bunched up, can leave him very, very susceptible to losing some points at the end of the race. On boy Wiggles now as he has control of the field. TD says Wiggles to win. Always Fairley and Slap will end up on podium, I think. Well, we'll have to wait and see. You can find out here right now. I have to say, Wiggles has been very impressive here this evening. And if he were to win, I don't think anyone would say that it was undeserved. Flew getting super close to the back of Wiggles, who goes for it. Looks like that is a good restart. Just needs to manoeuvre the final chicane well. Misses the apex, but doesn't seem to have caused him too much bother. Flew is on the hard tyres, remember, so he won't have as much grip as those around him, but his tyres might be in better condition at the end of the race. Dayman and Kement's going side by side now into the source, and they are blocking the 2 soft runners who are also going side by side now. Slapbus looking to get past Fairley, as Fairley was ahead under safety car conditions, and this is going to be petrifying for all drivers there. It looked like 4 drivers are going to go too wide. And here comes Slapbus now. A little bit of a corner cut up over Rouge and Radion. Interesting to see if he got a warning for that. And now Fairley. It's a famous overtake from Hakkinen on Schumacher. It's all that over again. Dayman losing 2 places. And Hoike is dropping down the field. And he has spun perhaps on the entrance of Le Com. So a nightmare race for Hoike, you'd have to say. Heartbreak for Hoy. Slapbus and Fairley have cleared the first medium runner ahead of them of Dayman, but still have plenty of work to do. They have enough laps to do it in. Wiggles leads by 1.6 seconds, and he needs to make sure that he builds up a good lead, because once these soft runners get through the fields, they are going to be hunting him down like me hunting a Yorkshire pudding wrap on the Christmas markets. Kemmens is challenging Prev, but in all this, Slapbus and Fairley, Slapbus goes wide at Blanchimont, and may got another warning there. Here comes Fairley, Slapbus now down the inside. So careful there. These drivers need to be. Gosh, I'm turning into Yoda. Kemmens had to avoid an incident there with Slapbus, and as a result he's lost out to Fairley. Slapbus now down the inside of Prev, who is really charging through the field. These soft tyres are going to be... Oh my word. In Minecraft terms, he's got a diamond sword and everyone around him's just got a wooden pickaxe. Prev defending well from Fairley, using his own DRS on the Williams ahead. Wiggles leads by 2 seconds. Slapbus onto the podium now. Is only a couple of tenths away from Flew. You can just see through the corner how much difference those soft tyre makes. And there goes Slapbus into P2. And in all of that, Fairley still hasn't cleared Prev, so Slapbus could be on maybe for a race win here if, with all going well, Fairley side by side with Prev. Prev just slots in. Looks like Dayman's had a spin behind us in the background. Flew really struggling on those hard tyres. He's done incredibly well to remain in the podium spots for as long as he have, but it could just be a matter of time here before Fairley goes for a move on that Aston Martin. Thinks better of it on that occasion, a bit too far back. No move into the source, fairly thinking, no, I want DRS. I'm going to get past him on the Kemmel straight. Flew does not have DRS on the slap bus ahead, who has already pulled out a 2-second gap on the Aston Martin driver, and here comes Fairley. Flew gives him the space on the right hand side of the track, very sporting of him. And there it is, it was a matter of time, the time has come. Fairley up onto the podium. Flew, still a great race from his perspective, and can be very proud of what he's achieved so far. Has to defend from Prev for the remainder of these laps. Also Dr. Edward with floor and side pod damage. Using those soft tyres, he's up to P6, and I have to say, could find himself closing on that battle for 4th between Flew and Prev. Can Wiggles hold on? AJ Sam is retired, and that is at the end of No Name and another safety car. This has now eradicated the 2-second lead that Wiggles built up. This may mean that a lot of drivers now pit for new soft tyres. Question is, what does Wiggles do here? Because those mediums are 9 laps old. You get the feeling that on the safety car restart he's going to get swallowed up by those 2 drivers behind him. But if he pits, he'll lose a load of places. A conundrum for Wiggles, and he only has 10 or so seconds to make his mind up as to what he's going to do, and indeed he does come into the pits. TD says, I don't know what to do if I'm Wiggles. In fact, everyone into the pits here, with the exception of Flew, who stays out like an absolute tank. Flew is going to take those hard tyres to the end of the race if it kills him or not. And I tell you what, it might not be a bad strategy from Flew here to take these hard tyres to the end of the race. Sure, a lot of people behind will be on fresher tyres. But the safety car here could be out a couple of laps, and that could be critical in how many opportunities those guys with the soft tyres have in the remaining laps. Wiggles gets a 3-second time penalty under safety car, so that will massively affect where he finishes. I have to say, I got a 3-second time penalty under safety car yesterday, and I felt very silly. So I know how it feels. We got Dayman and Appy onto the podium. Flew is leading this race on 10-lap old hard tyres. You silly Yorkshireman, gosh. We will just check the penalties, there you go. 3-second penalties for Dayman, Appy, Wiggles, Hoi K, who is in 11th. Hyper has 6 seconds, but he was last at the last safety car, so his gain to 8th, very impressive. If Kemmons catches up to this field pretty quickly, the safety car may come in this lap, but we just have to wait and see. Hyper disagreeing with my Minecraft reference, but I don't care. It was a popular, it was a very cultural reference, and I'm very proud of it. Of course, you don't tend to get a safety car in the last 3 or 4 laps, so this could be the last safety car we see, or VSC. Safety car is not in this lap, so I'm sure Flew will be very relieved about that. He wants this little... Oh, Wiggles has gone behind him. He's spun. Well, he's had a bit of a snap of oversteer and corrected it. But Wiggles has lost places here, and it looks like Hyper's trying to see if he can squeeze past the Haas. So Wiggles, this safety car has been an absolute nightmare for him. He's got a 3-second time penalty, and now he's lost track position on Slapbus and Fairley. Was he off track? I think we caught some of it on stream, but not all of it. I don't think he was. I think it was just a big snap of oversteer. He went sideways, needed to correct and sort of come back. But I think it was. I think it was fair. I think it's a driver error. So I'm not sure. If it was me, I wouldn't complain too much. But you never know. There's still 5 or so laps left of this race. Anything could still happen. So. But of course, if Wiggles thought he was overtaken unfairly, he can always get it sent into the stewards if he wants. So then, Flew, Dayman, Appy, Padge, all not pitting under this safety car. They have track position. The safety car will be in this lap. It'd be great to see those any of those top 4 on the podium, because they don't usually get podiums in this division. It'd be great to see them on the podium, but these drivers behind on new tyres are hungry. They're hungry for positions. They're hungry for overtakes, and I'm sure we were bound to see at least one more incident between someone making a bit of wheel contact with another driver. Nice little sprint race as our race. What can be better than a Tuesday evening with IIRL? And he's gone for it. Flew's gone for it. How long can he hold off drivers behind on those hard tyres? Dayman, his tyres aren't exactly as fresh as the Daisy. Slapbus has passed Padge, and Padge is side by side now with Fairley through the source. Fairley's passed. Padge lost a couple of places there. Dayman is staying with Flew. Only half a second between the top 2. Gaps filtering back. Padge looking potentially for a move back on Fairley. Not quite close enough and a little bit wide through Lecombe. Wiggles gaining that place from Padge. Would have been absolutely epic to see Padge hold off those drivers and get on the podium. Looks like fresh tyres are working. Slapbus is past Appy now for P3, back onto the podium, and is only a second away from the lead of the race. And there goes Fairley, where last time we saw Slapbus make his way through the field and Fairley was a little bit slower to do that. This time Fairley is on his back, and Slapbus is really close to the back of Dayman. Fairley needs to be careful that he doesn't crash into Slapbus. Dr. Edward had retired. That's in sector 2. I doubt we'll see a safety car, but now side by side goes Slapbus on Dayman. That move is done. Wonder if Fairley will go for a move on the Haas. Around the outside now of the bus stop. And APS RP looking in on the action. Fairley's got the move done. Dayman forced wide at the final corner. RP now side by side. Flew is past. What a bit of contact there with APS RP into a slide. He's corrected it well. In the foreground though, Flew had an issue out of the final corner, and these 2 soft driver runners are released. They are back where they were at the start of the race. They chose not to pit on the first safety car, and it looked like potentially a bad call. But right now it looks like it was the right decision to make, and it looks like their strategy has been the right one with all the safety cars coming out. And it's not done yet. After this lap we will have 3 laps remaining, and I'm sure these 2 will be within a second of each other the whole darn time. Hoike making his way back up the field now. He's up to P6 and is using the soft tyre too. So expect to see Hoike fight his way through the field. He's now past Dayman. Hyper is retired. And that is into No Name. A virtual safety car. Won't bunch the field up, but it may cause a couple of drivers to get a drive-through if they're not careful, and perhaps a little bit of respite for our race leader. Still hope Flu makes the podium, says our race. Still virtual safety car conditions. In case you don't know what that means, the drivers have a certain lap time they need to adhere to. If they exceed that lap time and go quicker than they should, when the safety car ends, they will get a drive-through penalty, which will send them, as it stands, to the back of the fields. So far, everyone will get at least 1 point for finishing the race. And when will this safety car end? The drivers won't get DRS on the Camel Straight because the virtual safety car is still out, and I think Appy may have got a penalty there. I think it just flashed up at the top of the screen before Prev's penalty. On my screen it looked like Appy got a 20-second time penalty, but I'm not too sure. It could just be a glitch or a bug or something, but we'll have to wait and see if Appy goes in for a drive-through. I mean, he'll still get a point for the race. Yeah, I thought it said 20-second too. Strange. But the race is now back on. Flu is defending his third place very desperately from Wiggles, Hoike. Let's not forget, Wiggles and Hoike have 3-second time penalties here, so Flu is by no means out of the podium picture. Meanwhile, these two are continuing their fight. They've been in identical positions this whole race, and there goes Fairley down the inside of Slapbus. Slapbus looked like he let Fairley overtake him there, so Slapbus could get DRS. Of course, DRS is enabled. That virtual safety car didn't stop. And there goes Fairley letting the Slapbus through. Now Fairley will get the DRS. Enter the Camel Straight. A lot of mind games going on here. So now Fairley looks like he has the upper hand. He will have DRS, has a much better drive through Radion. And he retakes the lead. Flu needs to make sure he doesn't get a penalty. Yes, he does. He has lost a couple of places though to Hoy and Wiggles, them two having DRS. But if Flu stays within 3 seconds of the pair of them, then he will take third at the end of the race. And I tell you what, he's only got a lap and a half to try and keep within 3 seconds of Hoy. Flu could do this, you know. He could be on the podium. Fairley and Slapbus still fighting it out front. Hoike is a few seconds behind and won't challenge for the top two as it stands with that time penalty. But him and Wiggles are in a good little fight there for P3. And this is now mind games between the two. Do we think Fairley has the pace here? He is gaining. He is gaining time on Slapbus this lap. Just in portions of this lap, you can tell that Fairley's quicker. It looks like Slapbus has better straight line speed. I think Fairley is quicker through the corners here. This is going to be an interesting fight as they start the final lap of the race. And I wonder if Fairley will do the same strat again and go wide into turn one. No, he takes it normally. And he's going to have to hope and pray that Slapbus doesn't overtake him here with DRS. Meanwhile, Wiggles is only a couple of tenths off of Hoike. We're not going to leave this battle for now. because this is for the lead of the race. It looks like Fairley has used enough overtake, but here comes Slapbus, homing in like a pigeon from Bradford. Mr. Wiggles, meanwhile, is past Hoy K, but Flew is 2 seconds behind. Flew is going to be on the podium as it stands. But if these two can gain 3 seconds on Flew this lap, then they will just about be safe. Let's not forget, Slapbus is only 0.6 away from the lead here. He could still do this. Anything can happen. Dayman is retired in the pits, it looks like. And I have to wait and see if he's completed enough of the race to get a point. It looks like Fairley has got the edge here. Flew is now 3 seconds behind Hoy K. He won't inherit the podium spot when they come across the line, but the battle is still going on for the final podium spot between Wiggles and Hoy. Down Blanchimont they come. I have to say these two have been tooth and nail the whole time in qualifying and in the race. Fairley comes across the line and wins the Belgian Grand Prix with a new fastest lap of the race. Wiggles and Hoy going side by side in the final corner. Wiggles... Hoy K had less time penalties. And what? Wiggles has dropped... I think Wiggles picked up another time penalty at the death. And I think that may have cost him. Yeah, Wiggles saying in chat, stupid 6 second wet. We only thought he had 3 seconds. But Wiggles, that last minute penalty dropped him a couple more places. Unfortunate therefore, Wiggles, and Flew manages to inherit P4 instead of the P3. But what a race that was. What an absolute outstanding race. They have it Fairley and Slapbus, nothing to separate them in fastest lap, in race finish, in strategy, but Fairley just comes out on top by less than a second. He takes 26 points here this evening. Very tight finish there between Hoy, Flew and Kemments, who was near the back of the field after the first safety car came out, fighting his way back up to P5. Very nice effort there. Wiggles, unfortunately, with that penalty, drops into P6, and Padge, who at times looks out of the points and dropping places, manages P7, which is very good for him. APS Appy got a 20-second penalty instead of a drive-through, so that we can confirm Prev and Dayman still classified, so we'll get points, but crashing out of the race in the final lap. Wow. So there you have it. Look at all the DNFs. Look at all those chickens. Yeah, a lot of drivers DNFing, and if this race is what we've got to look forward to on this channel this week, then all I can say is bring it on. So yeah, we'll just have a look in the chat. Great race, says our race. We've got a lot of pennies. Sausage Wiggles, says TD. We need to... Do you want me to time TD out or something? I can do that. Great recovery by Hoy K. Amazing. Yes, indeed. Podium for Hoy K after a couple of moments in the race where it looked like he was really going to struggle. And a good debut by Kemments indeed, TD. Flew the goat. I have to say, I have mad respect for Flew for what he achieved, and it comes for me to decide driver of the day, and I have to say Flew is up there for a special mention. Those top two were both flawless and could give it to both of them. You know what, I'm going to give it to Flew. I think to do what he did, to stay out, to have the guts to stay out under those safety cars on worn tyres and defend in the manner that he did and gain a P4, definitely mad respect, and I don't think anyone will be disappointed if I gave Flew driver of the day. So driver of the day goes to Flew here this evening. And we got 2 more driver of the day coming up this week. We got Thursday night Assist Tier 1 race, join our race who is covering for Spark. And not Sunday night, but Monday night this coming week, we have the Assist Tier 2 race moved because of the In Real Life Mexican Grand Prix on Sunday. So we'll look forward to seeing you there. Congratulations to Fairley, to Hoy and Slapbus for the podiums. Congratulations to Hoy for the driver of the day. And we'll see you on Thursday.